Fingers crossed it works. This is annoying because... Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to create something that I have been wanting to create for a while now. I know I've done a bunch of silly, stupid projects on this channel, but this week we created something that I think I'm actually going to use in real life, and it's going to be very useful to me. So here's the idea. I've been trying to learn German for the past 3 years, very on and off, and I've tried a bunch of apps that exist right now, like Babbel, Lingoda, Duolingo, and while they're very good in their own regards, there's something that has been missing that I've been trying to find. A situational, conversational AI. Let me try to explain what that means. So imagine you're trying to learn German and you're already kind of fluent, or at least you know how to speak a few words. But you want to practice real-life situations in different scenarios, like going to the supermarket, going to the restaurant. What if an old lady walks up to you and tries to talk to you? How do you talk to her? These type of scenarios. We're going to start off by trying to come up with what the MVP would be. So I have a very rough idea. I want to create a voice AI, just basically someone to talk to. It will be able to talk to me in different situations. That's all I want for now. And I know I can use ChatGPT for it by just talking to the AI. But with that, I am not able to see the text, the translation of what the AI is saying. Like for example, Hallo, can you speak to me in German and very complicated as well?
Natürlich. Ich kann auf Deutsch sprechen und auch komplexere Themen ansprechen. Gibt es etwas Bestimmtes?
He just spoke very complicated German to me, and I would love to see a translation underneath of what he just said without having to close the conversation. Do you see the problem I'm trying to solve here? So let's try to create that now. I'm going to dump my rough idea into DeepSeek, which is my new favorite LLM, to try and come up with the MVP plan. What exactly are the features I want? What would the name of this product be? And then we're going to try and create the design, because I'm someone who loves to plan everything out before I go into code, because that will make life a lot easier. So we roughly have a basic understanding of what the MVP is going to be. And I'm now going to use another tool that I've been really enjoying recently, which is FigJam. It's the Miro version of Figma. I'm going to call my conversational AI Lex, because it was a cool name. So Lex is going to be our buddy who is going to speak to me in German. So the first step is going to be creating a very rough user journey. By user journey, I mean what me as a user who's going to be using the website will be seeing. So we start off with the user, me, being able to select a scenario. So I want them to be able to select depending on like supermarket, restaurant, train station, just these three for the MVP. And then I'm going to start talking to Lex in whatever that scenario is. So if it's a waiter, then I'm going to talk to it like I'm trying to order something. And I would be able to see a translation underneath of whatever Lex is saying that maybe I don't understand. So we more or less know what the user journey is going to be. So the next step is going to be try to design what the website is going to look like. I could have built an app, but I just thought a website would be easy to get the basic idea, and then maybe an app would make more sense afterwards, which I could just reuse a lot of things that I built in the website. For the design, we're going to be using this app called Visually AI, which is also something new, but it's basically a tool that lets you generate designs from a prompt, which is super cool for a non-designer like me. So I've not really tried this out before, so I'm very interested to see how this actually works out, because AI tools are very hit or miss, and I hope this is a hit. So I used ChatGPT this time because I find ChatGPT to be a very good LLM for creating prompts as compared to DeepSeek. So I used it to create a very basic prompt that I'm now going to feed into Visually AI and ask it to create a design for me. The design looks not terrible at all. It got more or less what I need to do, but now that I have the ability to remove the different elements of the design, I'm going to do that and fix it up to be exactly what I want. So, okay, this is more or less what I want. I want the user to be able to choose the scenarios at the top of the screen. And then there would be a big round like voice bot that would mimic a sound wave moving. So that's just for the user to know that the AI is trying to say something now. And then there will be a microphone button below. I think it looks okay. Like, it's a good start for MVP. So I'm going to go ahead with creating this for now. The next step is going to be interesting because this is going to be planning the architecture. I think this is something that we have not done for any of the other projects that I've done on this channel, because I don't think any of the projects with this complex or had this many moving parts. So to create the architecture, I'm going to start off by creating an overview of what exactly I need to make. I need a front-end app, and then I need a back-end app, and I need a client, which is going to be DeepSeek for now, because I think it's the best LLM right now. For now, I came up with 3 different scenarios. I don't think I'm going to go into detail because that's not very interesting, but let me know if you want me to go into detail in another video. But now that I have the basic architecture as well as the technical flows, I can start coding. My matcha is empty. Maybe before we start coding, let's get us some tea. Also, the weather is very nice right now. I think I'll go out for a walk in a bit. Tea or coffee? We have our tea. We are going to start coding now. And we're going to start off with the backend first, because I think that's a bit more complex than the front end. So it would be nice to get that up and running and be done with that. For the backend, I'm going to be using Node.js. And I've already built quite a few backend apps in the past using Node. So I do have this template for my personal use that I really enjoyed. It has the type of dependency injection that I enjoy, or using OOP and just a basic route. So I'm actually going to duplicate my own backend template, which already has existing clients, and I'm going to create a DeepSeek client instead. Okay, we have a basic running endpoint now. So now I could not use DeepSeek API directly. That page was just under construction. So instead, I opted to find a free way, which was using OpenRouter. You can check that out yourself. But for now, we have a working endpoint, which is very good. And my calls to DeepSeek are working. So that's first step done. I'm now going to come up with different prompts for the 3 different scenarios that we narrowed down to for the MVP. So supermarket, train station, and restaurant. Okay, now I have the endpoint working, where it basically takes in the scenario. If the scenario is restaurant, then it responds with the correct first message and the correct continue message. So I think that's awesome. We have 1/4 of the problem done. But remember, this is going to be a voice agent. So I need to be able to convert the text to voice and send it to the front end as well. And honestly, I don't know how hard that's going to be. Maybe that's going to be really easy, or that's going to take me hours to solve. I have no idea. But okay, it's going fine. So far, it's going fine. That kind of worked. I'm now going to tell it that, okay, the scenario is restaurant. And the user just said in German, alles gut, ich hätte gern ein Cola, which is all good. I want a cola. To the waiter. Hopefully the waiter responds with something legit. Let's see if this works.
Ein Cola, sehr gerne. Sofort.
That works. So it just said, a cola, very good, coming up. Oh, is this actually working? Oh, wow. Cool. Okay, since this more or less works, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's more features we want to add, but this very basic voice AI talking in different scenarios works on the back end. Now we need to create the front end. So let's do that. For the front end, I don't really have templates. I usually always use React. I would love to try another technology. So tell me down below if there's any very cool technology that I should try. But just to keep things simple, I'm going to continue using React as well, which I'm just going to use like the basic React startup template and create the design that we came up with. Guess what? We have a very basic front end working. So I did use DeepSeek to help me with this, and it came up with a very quick, dirty front end that I then modified to make it look like what I want it to look like. Something that I'm realizing as I'm working with LLMs as an engineer is that I can't just copy paste whatever the LLM gives me, because whenever I do that, I end up spending even longer trying to debug what it just came up with. And it's a lot harder to debug things if you're not the one who wrote the code. So for me, I like to use it for very basic like template creations, or use cursor when I need to modify the same thing in multiple files. But when it comes to business logic, I like to write the code myself. So for the backend, I do a lot of that by myself. So I think in those cases, it's good to have an LLM to help you as a side buddy, but you should control it, not let it control you, right? Because I think it just makes life harder, to be honest, in the long term if you let it control you. Enough of that. Let's see this very basic working front end. So we let the user select 3 different scenarios: the supermarket, restaurant, and train station. And then the user can start to role play. And depending on whatever they selected, I just currently have a modal popping up that like, okay, this is what the user selected. Now that this basic thing works, I'm going to try and make it look just like the designs that we had come up with before. So let's try and get that to work. That was faster than expected. It actually looks quite similar to the designs we had come up with before. So let me show this to you. The user can pick a scenario, so either supermarket, restaurant, train station for now. And when they click on the start roleplay, we store the state of whatever has been selected. I like having small chunks of happiness tests, what I call it. So like just making sure small bits of the UI work and then you slowly increment, as compared to building everything and then you test everything out. Because then I realize it's harder to see where the problems are, and it's also a lot easier to debug if you build iteratively and do iterative tests as well. So just a small tip out there. Now that this thing works, I'm going to try and call our backend point. This is going to be exciting, and see whether it responds with the voice AI or not. So like the first conversation, if it can actually start a conversation. This is actually progressing. I'm very excited how this is going. It's still kind of sunny, so I think I'm going to go for a walk and take a small break before I continue implementing this, because I'm a bit tired now. So let's go for a walk and see the nice weather in the city. Okay, we are back. So I'm now going to complete integrating the backend with the front end, and then fingers crossed it works. You know what? I think it works. I'm going to start the backend and then the front end, and I'm going to pick a scenario, start role play.
Guten Tag. Bereit zu bestellen?
Do you hear that? It just spoke in German. Good morning. Or like, good day. What do you want to order? Seems like it works, like the front and back end connection works. And it's able to come up with the initial conversation starter based on the different scenarios, which is very good. So next, we are going to... Wait, what do we do next? Let's see if it works for the other scenarios as well.
Guten Tag. Darf ich bitte Ihr Ticket sehen?
So for the train station, it also says like, hey, do you have your train ticket in German? So I think that's okay, cool. That works. Next, I'm going to try and add a microphone so that now I can reply back to whatever Lex is saying to me. this is annoying because I record the audio on the front end and then I send it to the back end as an MP3 file. But when I do this, the back end errors because it says that this is not a valid audio file. I don't get it, but I'm recording it correctly. The reason why it was working for me on Chrome is because of my microphone settings or my permissions internally on my MacBook, which needs to be enabled for specific browsers or apps, and I disabled it for Chrome. So I think that's why it wasn't working for Chrome. But I'm just going to test it out on Safari because it works perfectly on Safari for now. If fingers crossed this works. Now I'm at the stage where I successfully am able to send my recorded MP3 file to the backend. But on the backend, I do an audio to text conversion, like a transcribing. But this process, it is not able to recognize that I'm actually speaking German. And instead, it comes up with very weird English words that it tries to interpret from whatever I'm saying. I'm going to add this language code attribute to the call that I'm making to Assembly AI, which is what I use for transcribing.
Hier gibt es nur Ticketkontrollen. Bitte zum Kiosk gehen.
Ich habe mein Ticket hier. Wo muss denn ich gehen?
Hier können Sie nur Tickets kaufen, kein Essen.
It more or less works, and when I speak to it, it is able to, other than the weird smiley error, it's able to understand what I'm saying and respond accurately as well. So, good job. Now, I want to add the feature that distinguishes this from using ChatGPT, which is to be able to interpret the text that Lex is saying, and I would be able to see the German words of it as well as the English translation. Let me try to come up with a design to show you how that could look like. So I go back to Visily AI just because I like their designs. I didn't use AI for this. I kind of knew what I wanted it to look like, so I just decided to create the design myself. Beside the microphone, I want to create another button with this translation logo. And when I click on this, then I would want to see translation of whatever Lex, like the AI that I'm talking to, is saying. And I would want to see it in German as well as in English. So I'm thinking maybe the default should be in German. And the value behind this is that sometimes I don't really understand the accent of someone. But if whatever they're speaking gets translated in German in written form, I understand what's going on. But I just don't understand what they're saying. Maybe they speak too fast. Maybe they mumble their words or they jumble things up. So that's why it would be valuable for me to see the German version of the text and see whether I understand it as well. And if I don't understand it, then I would be able to click on the English button and get the translation into English so that I at least understand what's happening in this conversation and what are we speaking about, so that I don't interrupt the conversation and I know what I need to get better at and what I need to learn. So this will be the next feature. I also want to add on the suggestion feature. It will give me suggestions of what I could say instead, but I don't know if I have time to get that done today, so maybe that will be a future iteration. Today, I'll be very happy if I get this translation logic done. It looks like a very small change in the UI, but I think it's going to require quite a bit of changes in the backend. Let's get working. I think we have a working code. Let me show you the demo. I'm quite happy with what we've achieved so far.
Guten Tag. Zeigen Sie bitte Ihr Ticket.
Guten Tag. Ich hab mein Ticket.
Kein Problem. Sie können es nachkaufen.
Wo kann ich kaufen das von?
Tickets kaufen Sie am Schalter oder am Automaten.
Und wo ist die Schalter- oder Automatenmaschine?
Die Fahrkartenautomaten sind rechts am Eingang.
Okay, sehr gut. Dankeschön, vielen Dank.
Bitteschön. Gute Reise.
So, seems like we have a basic situational conversational AI in German. I'm quite happy with this. I'm going to try and work out different scenarios. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, but out of all of the other projects that I've showed on this channel, I think this is probably the one that I find the most useful. So let me know if you want to see more of this particular project. I'm also very interested to see how many of you would want to try this out. I don't know if you're learning a new language or you're just interested in trying it out. So if there's enough people who want to try it out, you can click in the link in the description box below, which is going to be like a semi-waitlist, very quick form that I created. And you can let me know if there will be enough people who want to try it out. I'll be happy to publish this and actually add more features, because that would be exciting to see people use something that I created as well. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.